I'm not gonna say how much I could have got.
You could have gotten 7 figures. There's no way.
Yeah, I could have got as much as I wanted. But if I get those 7 figures, then I would be taxed at that very high limit.
The sum of all that money that you made during that period, like without getting personal into your finances, but was that financial freedom money?
Yeah.
So you have this song. How did it become the hit? How did Capitol get a hold of it?
What really made that track big was it started on SoundCloud because he called me. It was like, hey, can I put this on SoundCloud? And I was like, yeah. I said, you can go ahead and put it on SoundCloud, no problem. And so he called me Christmas Day, and he was like, hey, the song kind of taken off a little bit. And I was like, oh, okay. And before that, he had a few songs that kind of did pretty good on SoundCloud, like 10, 15,000 plays and stuff on it. But I went to SoundCloud and I checked it, and I was like, oh, this thing got some views on it. I was like, oh, okay. And, went back to, my Christmas Day. I checked it again the next day, and I seen the numbers were going up. I was like, oh, okay, this might be something. January 1st of 2015, I checked the stats of SoundCloud. It was up to like 500,000 plays. So now I was like, okay, I think we might have something here. This is when IG had just like started, doing the video stuff on it, like the 15-second videos or whatever. I said, whatever you do, I said, make as many videos of you dancing to that song on IG. And him, a couple of his friends, they went to the local chicken spot here, and they did a video of them dancing to the song. And literally that day, all the way into the day I released it, it was just video after video after video. And I said, listen, put every single video up on your IG, and I said your IG is gonna start blowing up from there. And that's what we did. So everything was basically grassroots, because if people know in Atlanta, and this is just a secret to anything, to anywhere, if anybody wants to learn this, if you want to get a record to blow up, find you a kid that is semi-popular in high school and get it started at that high school. It'll spread from there. Now, Atlanta has a culture of that here where they embrace the local artists, local talent. A lot of these high school kids, a lot of the rappers and stuff you hear now are known kids from high school around here. All the other high schools know about them, and then now they're just older. So they're not kids that just came up from anywhere. They were already kind of known. So that's how we started that. Once I uploaded the record and everything, I uploaded the record on his birthday on YouTube. I created his YouTube channel, uploaded it. I uploaded it, got like 10 views within like an hour. I went to my daughter's basketball game, and I just forgot about it. I woke up the next day, it had 10,000 views just from the audio. And then from there, they just started spawning. At the time, it was great because YouTube was a place where people were doing a lot of videos. So it just spawned a lot of videos on YouTube. And my guy called me. He was at Atlantic at the time, and we had already did some stuff already. He was at Atlantic. He called me. He was like, hey, man, we seen the song doing pretty good. Is that your artist? I was like, nah, he's not my artist. It's a kid I'm working with. He's still a kid. He's like, hey, man, let's try to do a deal. And I kind of held off a little bit. And then I got a call from TuneCore, because that's who I put the song, I upload the song through TuneCore. And at the time, they had a record label called Believe. Believe was over TuneCore, which Believe is a huge company overseas. They had a deal with a place called Dance On Network. I remember Camille from TuneCore, and she's a very vital part of this whole situation. She called me and she was like, hey, I'm Camille from TuneCore. We see the song is doing real good. We want to help you out and see if this is, if there's a way we can, get you guys, get the song a little bit bigger. And what we did was we got Dance On Network to have the top 50 dancers in the world to dance to the song.
So it was basically a TikTok marketing campaign before TikTok.
The first one, really. It's kind of crazy because I never really spoke about it in that sense. If you look at a lot of the records at that time, they took the same exact formula, but none of them actually worked that way, because the way I did it was a little bit different in a sense, even just the timing of everything. That's why even the Taylor Girls record worked out, because I did it almost the same exact way.
You're talking about Steal Your Man, or a different one?
Steal Your Man, yeah. It was almost
a Steal Your Man challenge. The crazy thing is, I didn't even know you were part of that track until I read up on your discography, and I was like, oh, that, because I love that beat when it came out. It was a little kid song, but I love that beat.
With the Silento record, once those dancers got onto it, it blew up, and really the song went gold before we even signed with Capitol, because we had all the deals. Everybody was calling, people were flying in and stuff like that. But I really, in my heart, I really wanted to just go with Capitol, because at the time they didn't really have anything over there. They didn't even have like a real department for it, like an urban department you really put together. They had some stuff over there, but it wasn't ready for that. Because, you know, at that time, QC was coming over and all that stuff was going over on the Motown side. And then we came in, and then you had a few other people coming in at that time. So really Motown was kind of, Motown and Capitol at the time was kind of like, it was a perfect situation. Once they got a hold to it, once we signed like May 5th. A month later, we was on Good Morning America debuting the song. That was huge. And then it went platinum like a month later. It went going, because it got certified 6-time platinum in 2016.
Oh, okay. So that's really old information. Because before then, there wasn't even a streaming market. And now that everything has shifted over to primarily music being consumed on Spotify, that's the crazy thing. Because I'm sure you heard this. I'm sure you heard a lot of people say, "Oh, this is a one-hit wonder. We'll forget about it next year." Okay, well, it's on Spotify, and very few songs have as many streams as it did. So it survived the streaming transition. So that says a lot about the song.
It's still being played to this day. I go to Atlanta Hawks games all the time. I hear the song being played. I'm just sitting in the arena, just kind of bop my head. Or I go to football games, and all that stuff counts. That's why One thing I can say is with that song, it actually transitioned from people actually buying singles to strictly now streaming, and it survived. And that's why I tell people right now, there is a ton of money in streaming. If anybody says there isn't no money in streaming, that's a lie.
Oh, Dame will love this part of the interview.
The problem is people that don't know want to argue. It's like a mechanic, a really good mechanic who knows how to work on cars would tell you, no, it's not the carburetor, it's the fuel pump immediately. And you're like, nah, but my dad said that it's this, because if you know, you know. And I'm telling you from what I'm seeing on my publishing statements where a lot of this is coming from. Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of sync stuff is coming in there. That's the bulk of it. But when I see that if you have a hit record, streaming will make you a good amount of money. Now,
I was surprised, honestly, because I didn't have hit records until streaming. The advances were lower than what I was getting pre-streaming. The royalties were infinitely higher. I'm like, wow, if I didn't collab on these beats, I'd be 3 times rich. This is crazy. So, but speaking of which, did you sign a publishing deal right after that, or was it an admin deal, or are you still completely independent?
I was actually in an admin deal with TuneCore.
Okay, was that subsequent to the record taking off, or was that even before?
I was with TuneCore before that.
Okay.
Because before that, I was working with a young artist named Tierra Nicole, and we were one of the first ones to go like hit 1 million independently on YouTube back in the day. And I was like, well, I need to have somewhere to collect my money. So I went ahead and go to TuneCore. I paid the $75 and I started with them years prior to that. And once the song took off, they were like, hey, we can use this for like press. You know what I'm saying? So they did a whole write-up and everything on me at the time. But what I did was later on that year, I went ahead and got everything switched over to Warner Chappell. So I actually did an admin deal with Warner Chappell. A lot of places were trying to get me to do a full-on pub deal, which I tell all producers right now, do not do that. It sounds good. Was people saying, hey, if you do the pub deal, we'll actively seek and go ahead and get you in the studio with this and this person and that person, this person. And I really had to trust my gut on it. And I was like, well, I've been doing this for a little while, and I've had some successes working with unknown artists. And then, okay, we're looking at 15% versus 50%, if not, because 15% is really like 17%. Because you got to think of how much YouTube takes. That's could be 20%, and then the regular could be 15. So the 50% really could be 45% in a sense. So I was like, you know what? Let me just take the admin deal, and then don't let me go crazy on the front end money. So I was like, they was like, how much do you want? Because I could have got. I'm not gonna say how much I could have got.
You could have gotten 7 figures. There's no way.
Yeah, I could have got as much as I wanted, but I really just wanted to just get another crib and get some equipment. So I got way lower than what I could have got, because I knew that the day I signed, I knew the deal was already paid for. So I did Warner Chappell. My deal just went up last year. I'm still just in it month to month really with them, but I can really just switch over to anybody I want right now. But
yeah, I mean, if they're collecting, why switch? Well, that was incredibly smart. What was your background? I mean, just because it blows my mind that you had the foresight to say no to a co-pub deal and take an admin deal, and you had the discipline to say, all right, yeah, I could make $1 million upfront now, but I'm going to delay that gratification because I know I'm going to make, $2, $3 million. And these are fake numbers. I'm just pulling these out of thin air, but I could make 2-3 times that over the course of the next 5 years, 10 years, if I just play it safe. Or not safe, if I just play it smarter and choose the less appealing option with the smaller advance. Did you have a lawyer that advised you against that? Was that just purely from your own experience?
Nobody said nothing. I had a business manager at the time. He was kind of telling me certain things, but they don't tell you none of that stuff. Like none of it. The only thing that I saw was prior to that situation, I was in another situation in 2007. I had got a good chunk of money at that time. And I seen how long that amount of money lasted me. It lasted me about 7 years. So it taught me how to manage the money. And I was like, if I did that with that, okay, and I know this is coming in, because you got to think, not just the money from the publishing situation coming in, you got to think all the money from ASCAP that was coming in during that time from the performance royalties I was getting.
Yeah, from the writer's side, because that's still all yours. It's coming directly to you.
Yeah, so you got to think, you wake up one day and then, ASCAP sends you a check for $92,000. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, I don't think I need that much right now. You know what I'm saying? Because I know what's coming. And I know that was like the first amount that I got. This was going to get bigger. I was like, okay, cool. And then, even them, like CSAC was hitting me up like, hey, we can get you more money. We can do this. We can do that. And I'm like, nah, I'm cool where I'm at. I was getting out on that publishing side too at that time. I don't want to be like other people and get all of this money. And then plus I knew about taxes at the time too. So, so the smart bet was I can get 7 figures, but if I get those 7 figures and I don't use it on other things, then I would be taxed at that very high limit to where that if I did do $1 million, that would be 650 grand, 700 grand that I would take back. Uncle Sam would get like 3. So I was like, okay, let me take the lower amount, go in. And then what I did was, it's not illegal. I bought a house in my business name. In one of my business names. And then what I did was I used that to leverage the taxes. And so I got less money, used that to leverage the taxes. And as soon as I started getting all the other money, I started reinvesting that to offset the taxes year by year.
And you're lowering the tax burden anyway, because the amount of money that's coming in, it adds up to more than that $1 million.
Yeah.
But it's in smaller pieces. And so you're not reaching certain tax thresholds.
That's right. So as soon as I was getting money at that time, of course you want to see it sitting in the bank. But then what I had to learn was if I buy a piece of investment property or any type of a house, because you got to think this is when, after the economic downturn, the real estate was dirt cheap. So I could buy smaller houses for like $40,000, $50,000. And that was my bank. But then you got to think the values of those houses were going up. And then I was fixing those up and I was putting renters and stuff like that in there. So it was just me being a person that was a little bit older and me knowing certain things. And even shout out to my ex-wife on that. She really kind of got me in on that, because before that, I'd have probably been just like, okay, let me just buy some studio equipment. You know what I'm saying? But once I got into that, it was like, okay, this is what's making a move. And then once you have it, you can offset the taxes. And then with the new tax code came in, when Trump got in office, he had the new tax code where if you buy anything for your business, you can write it off. So I bought a whole bunch of gear, studio desks. I had a studio, bought a whole bunch of stuff for that. So it kind of did that. But then over the years, I just kind of do the same thing. So if I buy a camera for YouTube, or if I buy equipment, or if people give me equipment write-off. So if I'm doing anything, all that stuff could be written off. And this is stuff that a lot of people need to learn. And just like what Little Baby was just saying on his video not a couple of days ago, he didn't know about this stuff, but now he knows about it. Learning this stuff is paramount. And then if you play it, you can find a way to where you can save a lot of money in the long run.
So when it came time to sign the deal with Capitol, given the fact that you were so involved in artist development and especially that record itself, I mean, you didn't just make the beat and send it off. You tracked everything. You mixed the initial version. You were instrumental in the marketing campaign. Was it just a standard deal where you got paid in advance, you got royalty points, you retained your underlying composition, or was it a different kind of deal?
He was a minor. I wanted to sign him to me, and then we was thinking about doing a joint thing. The lawyers were thinking about doing a joint thing. But we ultimately settled on he was going to be signed as an artist. What Capitol did was they threw me in a production deal on top of that for me just hanging in there and not letting him, because they really could have went anywhere they wanted to. But I kind of did it the way we kind of forced the hand with Capitol, because I still controlled the beat. And that's what a lot of producers don't know. If you have a beat, you control that beat. And there was a lot of other labels, and it kind of caught me off guard because a lot of labels were like, well, if you don't want to sign over here, what we can do is we can just manage you. And I was kind of thinking, I'm like, why everybody keeps saying they want to manage me? And the reason why is if they manage me, they control the beat, and they were trying to get me to sign production deals and stuff with those labels. So I was like, if they trying to do this, I'm thinking that they're trying to get the beat, which my lawyer actually told me that. And so I was like, okay, let's kind of force my hand with Capitol. And what we did was we did a LOD, a letter of direction, to where basically I got a percentage of the deal. And the percentage I got is actually a little bit higher than if he was signed to me in a production deal. So I got a percentage of the whole deal. So whenever he got paid, I got a percentage of that, plus all the producer royalties and everything else. And so one thing I do want to mention is I never took an advance on any of the records that I did, except for like recently. If I'm working with you as an artist and producer, I never took an advance, but I got the advance from the LOD from the situation, but never in advance on the actual beat.
Okay, so kind of more of a manager role.
So I was managing at that time too. So I was on the road with him. I did all the logistics for like travel, hotel, everything between me and his. We had like a talent agency. My guy, RM Talent Agency, he was helping me out on that, booking shows and stuff like that. And I basically did all the logistics all the way until June of 2016. So all the shows, everything, I was there. I was on the road with him. We were recording in hotel rooms. We were doing a lot of features and stuff like that. All the BET, all the award shows, everything, I was there. It was a cool situation because his guardians, his aunt, uncle, they were really cool, and they were learning. I was learning at the time too, and it was a pretty smooth situation until he turned 18. You know, that's when he could touch his money, and it was he was allowed to go crazy then.
Yeah, at 18, my financial literacy was certainly not what it is now. So all that, because it wasn't just that song Going Diamond, it wasn't just the Taylor Girls track. You also had another couple hits too, including another Silent Hill record where he's a feature. So Dessert, that song kind of went viral too. Was the sum of all that money that you made during that period, without getting personal and into your finances, but was that financial freedom money? You made the joke earlier about retirement. Now you're living like a retiree. So it was that.
Yeah. I'll put it like this. It's financial freedom. Don't get me wrong. But one thing that I have learned by just being around other people like Polo and being around Shakespeare and everything, when you get the money, it's almost financial freedom, but then it's like, I don't want to lose this life. So it's like, okay, what now?